afternoon. It's 11:55. We're in Rich Meridian time, and it's time for a discussion session here at the Dome of Excellence. Thank you very much, man of God, for this amazing opportunity. In our discussion for today, we're talking on planning the future, and I'm joined by some amazing individuals who will be helping us in our discussion for today. You're welcome. Kindly introduce yourself to us.
Thank you very much, Apostle Seth, for this great privilege. Thank you very much, Lady Justin. I'm Lady Esther.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Apostle Seth, for this great privilege. Thank you, Lady Justina and Pastor Jamil.
Thank you very much, Apostle Seth, for this great privilege, and thank you, Lady Justina and Pastor Brandon.
Thank you very much, Apostle Seth, for this opportunity. Thank you, Lady Justina. I'm Lady Aliona.
It's good to have you all here this morning. Pastor Brandon, we will begin with you. Last week on planning the future, a man of God started off with a big question, but before that he made a quote from Dr. Miles Monroe that says that if the purpose of a thing is not established, abuse is inevitable. And then he moved to the big question, that is, why are you here? And I want you to talk to us, because if we do not know why we are here, we'll not be able to navigate, how to live on this earth. So talk to us, what is the purpose-driven conversation all about?
Thank you very much, Apostle Seth, once again, for this wonderful privilege. So, we have to understand that under the sun, under every season and at every time, everything has a purpose. And so when we're talking about the purpose-driven conversation, it's talking about our understanding or our conviction on why we are on earth and what we must do or what it entails to get to where we are going to. Because understand that every single person in this world has something that they are gunning for. Every single person has somewhere that they're going. I've come to realize that there are so many young people who don't understand why they're in school, why they're alive, why they're in the society that they are. Because I realize that we're all game changers. But it's just that the difference between the game changers or the ones making the moves and the ones sitting down is because the first set of people understand what they have been called to do. The greatest tragedy in life is not death, but the lack or absences of purpose. So you can know what to do and you can make it in life. And so we understand that, first of all, you have to have a purpose. And the first question you should understand is, why are you here? The question is, if you understand that you have been able to live this long, why should you waste your life in school? Why should you waste your life with friends? Because the last time I checked, you didn't come to the earth with somebody. You didn't write the exam and your ID number is the same as another person's ID number. Everyone's assignment and purpose in this life is different. Because God had an idea and wanted to establish a certain order on earth. And so he decided that you, Justina, you, Jamil, I'm giving you this idea. I'm giving you this mandate. Go and execute it for me on earth. And when you came to school, when you came to the earth, when you were doing about your daily activities, you failed. You're going around and then you're wasting your time. You're doing all sorts of manner of things and then you can't figure out what exactly you're supposed to be doing. There are so many people who have aborted their destiny because they don't know what at all they have been called to do. There are so many people who don't even understand why is it that they have been brought to a place like this. You have been brought to school. Your mother told you that this is the last of what we have. You are going to be the brand ambassador for our family. You are the one who is going to execute the vision that we couldn't give because you are the one who we have placed our entirety in. And then when you came to school, you wasted your time. You have a business. You know that the business was collapsing until you came. So why not change it? But you decided to waste your time spending the money, wasting resources, never learning about what to do, and then you're just wasting your time. You came with a purpose, and you must understand that if it's up to you, let it be known that you came to conquer and you came to devour the prey, as a man of God says. Know that there's a question you should ask yourself every day as you're in school, as you're in work, as you're at home. Why are you here? Why was I born to this family? Why was I given this privilege to go to school? Why have I been given this work? Why have I been brought to a church like this? Because trust me, there are so many people out there who are just wasting their life, wasting the time that they have on earth. And know this, that if you do not take care, God will place the mandate on another person and you become useless as a pure water rubber by the roadside. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor Branding. And so, why are we here? I don't believe that we are here only to occupy space, but we are also here to have dominion and to occupy until God comes. Now, and so I remember a man of God made a quote last week, and he says that if there be trouble, let it be in your days, that your children will have their peace of mind. And I believe that is very, very, amazing quote to quote. Now, Pastor Jamil, now we know why we are here. The purpose-driven conversation is quite clear. And so talk to us on how can I now decode a great future? In decoding a great future, what is that thing I need to do? That first move I need to make?
Thank you very much, Apostle Seth, for this great privilege. Thank you, Lady Justina, for the question. Now, in decoding the future, one thing you'd have to understand, which is basically what it takes to actually decode the future, is planning. Now, the man of God made a statement. He gave us a couple of people who had their submissions when it comes to plan. And then the man, Steve Covey, said that begin with the end in mind. Why? Because now, the future belongs to those who plan. When I was in JHS, there was one time we went for prep, and then we're making noise, and the instructor came around, came to put your head on the table, and everybody took 5 at their back. And then he wrote something on the board, and he says that the heights great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, whilst their friends slept, were toiling upwards in the night. It means that if you don't really structure the future and then put in the necessary step-by-step approach into attaining it, which is your plan, you will definitely not get there. Apostle says, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. It means that why many people, or why our parents have kept us in our situation where sometimes you would have to spend like 20 cedis, you didn't come to school with a car, you didn't come to school with what you want, is because they didn't plan. If they had taken their time and they had planned, they would have given birth to you 9 years after their marriage. But then since they didn't plan, they thought that it was just marriage. So you know what, let's get together, let's make babies. And then they forgot that somebody will have to pay for the diapers and everything that comes. So if you fail to put in the necessary structure, the actual truth is that you are not disturbing anybody, but you are disturbing your own future. You didn't plan, you didn't execute. It means that why people don't plan is because, first of all, they don't see. And then the man of God was saying that vision is the seed, plan is the roadmap, and then the actualization of what you see comes as a result of what you planned. So if all these put in play, and you choose to come and spend 4 years in school, 5 years in school, and then after school, you join the unemployed, it wasn't anybody's fault, neither was the government. Because now we don't employ people who just finish with degrees. We employ people who have plans and strategies for the future. Why should I put you in my company? When I put you in my company, I know that you will follow with the plan. You don't come and execute what you feel like executing. And then majorly because most people don't have a plan, so you associate yourself with people who have a plan. Because now, if you can't see and somebody has seen and has given you a plan, what you have to do is just follow. That is why most of the times when we invite people and then they come in, we tell them that, you know what, keep coming. The plan is that the moment you keep on coming, transformation is happening unaware. So keep coming, keep coming. And then by the time you come to the realization, you have become like what we planned for you. And so basically that is it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pastor Jamil. And so if wishes were horses, most of you here would have been riding. And so we plan with a great future. We do not wish for a great future. Now, Lady Esther, is it of a truism that we give God a clue if we plan our future? If yes, then defend your case.
Thank you very much, Lady Justina, for the question. And so one of the dominant statements that our man of God made during last week's message was that if you fail to plan, then you're actually planning to fail. Here, I believe that as an individual, as you're on earth, every endeavor that you might want to undertake is on the basis of planning. Now, there are some few advantages, or there are many advantages that planning gives to an individual. The first one that I'll talk about is that planning gives you strategy. Now, planning moves you from just being reactive to being proactive. It moves from just mere activity into intentionality, which means that if you are one person that you normally do things anyhow just because of doing sake, then now that you have a plan, you are intentional about whatever you are doing. Your plan also aligns you with the resources. It helps you to align your resources with God's purpose for you so that you move from not just being busy to being effective. Secondly, a man of God made us understand that your planning gives you direction. Now, you realize that as an individual without a plan, every road that you see seems to be the right path. But then if you are able to map out your plan, you realize that this is not actually it, because a man of God makes us understand that direction is always better than speed. If you're a person going somewhere and you're in a hurry to go without the direction, you're eventually going anywhere. And so planning helps you to keep the focus even when distractions arise. And then the third thing is that planning reviews leakages, yes. And so going through this, I realized that planning itself is an audit. So if you are able to map out that this is the path, you're able to find out where precious resources of time, talent, money, energy is being wasted. And it helps you to plug out those potholes so that it doesn't begin to bring you down during the process of your progress. And then the last thing that I'll talk about is that planning helps your execution. Now, during last 2 weeks, a man of God taught us on vision. And he says that vision without execution is daydreaming. And so the role of planning in execution is that it helps you to break down massive vision into manageable steps. It helps you to break anxiety. It reduces anxiety and gives you a blueprint of whatever action that you want to undertake. And so, for instance, if you say that one day I'll get it done, one day I want to do this, planning is that which will move you from saying, one day I will do this, to day one of doing what you actually said you wanted to do. So I'll end with this, saying that a plan is that which has the potency to turn a mountain into a staircase. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lady Esther. And so if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Lady Aliona, I will end our discussion with you. You know, as young people, we tend to assume a lot of things. We say things like it will happen. Now, talk to us. What happens if we fail to plan on how it will happen?
Thank you very much, Lady Justina, once again for the question. So, like they've all said, if you fail to plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's the first thing that happens. If you do not plan, you are going to fail. There's no two ways about it. It's not about having something in mind. Once you have not put pen on paper and you are not doing the needful, you're on your way to failure. Now, Luke chapter 14, verse 28 says that who built a house without first counting the cost? That means that along the way, if you do not plan, you are going to get stuck. And you have to know what you need. You have to know the resources that you have available, what you do not have available. You have to know enough information about what you want to do. Now, I wanted to understand why my man of God said the principles of success are universal. He said that there are certain patterns in the lives of great men that if you do not see inculcated in your life, it means you're on the path of failure. And one of the principles that you see in the lives of great men is planning. So I studied Jesus and then I studied my man of God and then I came across a certain similarity. So when you look at Jesus, Jesus was that man that sent out his followers, 72 of them in pairs, to towns that he intended or he planned to visit. Now, what did our man of God do last week and then this week? He sent us out to the various campuses because he plans to dominate those campuses. So the similarity you see here is that they plan their ministry locations, and because they know that you need a certain plan, otherwise you are going to get stuck along the way. And that is why many pastors fall out. It's not because they lack grace or something, they just don't have a plan. And then the next thing about planning is that you fail to see the future if you do not plan. And our man of God has taught us that those who plan are those who see the future. And if you see the future, you can seize it. In Mark chapter 14, verse 13 to 15, it says, "So he sent 2 of his disciples, telling them, 'Go into the city, and a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him. Say to the owner of the house he enters, the teacher asks, where is my guest room, where I may eat the Passover with my disciples? He will show you a large room upstairs, furnished and ready. Make preparations for us there.'" Someone who doesn't have a plan cannot have foresight. So this is prophecy actually. So that means the Passover meal Jesus had with his disciples was not just prophesied, but then he planned towards it. So he had seen it in a vision, but then he told them, make preparations for us there. Because you cannot just walk into something because somebody has prophesied about it to you. Yes, and then the last point I'll talk about is inconsistency. If you do not plan, you cannot continue what you start. Your life will look plenty just because you do not have a plan. As a student athlete in ministry, I cannot fulfill an obligation in one or two of these areas and then neglect the other, unless I see that, this has to come before this. But if I do not even plan, I do not know what must come first on my list of my priority table, right? If I have, let's say I have an IA later today, I cannot say because I have an IA in the evening, I cannot come on panel. I must be able to build that capacity to accommodate the ability to do both. If I have lectures to attend, if I have a tournament to play within the week, I have presentations to make in church, I cannot just show up and then think that it will happen smoothly. And that is why you feel like your life is plenty, and because of that inconsistency, it breaks your confidence, and eventually you are going to stop. Look at our man of God. He is a head pastor of this institution. He has about 60 executives. He has 10 fellowship pastors under him. He's single-handedly taking care of family, taking care of people's academics, and then their accommodation. If you do not plan, how do you do all this? Like, it's either you run mad, you stop, like you are going to die. You see, sometimes, even when you have planned, things can go a bit wayward. And that is why the Bible says that we should commit our plans to God. So how much more you that you don't have a plan? So the last statement I'll end with is, it is not a wishful thinking that will let things automatically fall in place. Plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lydia Leona. And so you respond to every dog that barks if you do not have a plan on where you're going. Thank you so much, my panelists. We've come to the end of our discussion for today. Enjoy the service.